Hello, good morning, and welcome back. Let's check out my knives. So this is going to be just a quick overview, kind of like a show and tell of my knife collection. So my thought process was, okay, so I've got ideas of, videos about knives that I would like to show. But I'm not entirely sure what the handful of subscribers that I do have already, if you guys are interested in anything specific that I have that you would like to get a closer look at, I guess. If you want me to go a little in depth about what's what and what I think of them and all that kind of stuff. Not that you would really even give a shit, because who would, right? But just in case you're interested in it, I'll show you what I got. If you want to see something more about it, let me know in the comments and I'll take a closer look and we'll go from there. So without further ado, let's take a look here. So Pelican case, 1300. This thing's freaking sweet. Pelican cases are awesome. Super tough. I feel like you could throw this thing out of a moving vehicle going down the interstate and it would just like scuff the edges of it a little bit. Super tough. Very nice. Okay, so this is my current folder collection. I do have some fixed blades over here, but this is my folder collection. And as you can see, I have 4 spots to fill in this case until it's time for a new case, but don't tell my wife that. Anyways, yeah, this is basically it. So I've been collecting knives for, I guess like some of the early knives that are in this case, maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, somewhere in there. But I didn't really start getting weird about knives and, collecting for a little while. Anyways, let's just get moving. So first things first, this is my Chris Reeve large Sebenza 31. And I freaking like this knife a lot. This is right in the wheelhouse of the size that I like. So obviously I have huge hands. And for me, if I'm going to carry a knife, more often than not, I like to carry what I consider to be a full-size knife. And basically 3.5 inches to like a little bit under 4 inches is where I like to live. And this bad boy is right in there. So, and honestly, everybody knows about the Sebenzas, the quality, blah, 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 all that stuff. So this is my Sebenza. This is a plain Jane, just a single thumb stud, standard issue. Whoa, cut my case. Sebenza. So that's about it. I beat the crap out of my Sebenza. So I've got some snail trailage going on there, but I mean, I cut open bags of Quikrete with this thing. I don't care. I just thump on it. So I guess the word Sebenza means work in South African, and I put it to work. Next up, Three Rivers Manufacturing, TRM Atom. And I freaking love this knife. It's a little dirty because I do actually carry and use this thing quite a bit too. I would say that this is probably my all-around favorite pocket knife. It's just the blade length is there, the shape. I'm a sucker for a nice drop point. I like the scales. These are not the scales that came with it. I actually purchased it with gray G10 and bought these afterwards and edited on there. But just the thinness of the stock, how slicey it is, the materials. I mean, it's like the liners are titanium, everything's titanium and 20 CV steel. Great action. Whoa, as I mess it up underneath the camera, haha. So anyways, yeah, super awesome knife. I love it. It's just amazing. And one of my big time go-tos. Moving along, this is my Knives Seer. And this is a limited edition. They did 3 colors. So they have the blue and the gold, as you can see. There's a black and gold. And then there's an all gray everything, 50 shades of gray. But basically they're all identical as far as materials. It's just titanium and 20 CV steel. And I don't know if you can see that, but they limited each color to, actually I think this one and the black one are limited to 610 models. And then I think the all gray everything had slightly less. So I'm not really sure about that, but they're still available. They're out there. This is, like I was talking about with the Sebenza, this is like right in the wheelhouse as far as size-wise goes. I think it's just over 3.5 inches in blade length. Just beautiful knife. I was kind of that dude about WE knives. So like, there's hundreds of WE knives. It seems like they're like, you can't turn around without a new WE knife getting dropped. And I'm all about American companies and American production and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of like, you know, turned my nose up at WE for a while. But finally I was like, you know what? I've heard a lot of good things about them, that they just seem like they've really improved as far as some of their designs, some of their materials, some of their actions. You know, they got rid of those, the screws that suck. This one's all Torx. So I thought I'd try it. And so this was the first WE knife that I purchased, and I really like it. This thing's got a great action. It's really hard to do under the camera and on top of a case. I've got about like 5 inches of room right here. So, yow, as I almost bit myself with it. Sorry, I'm wound up. I just got home from work. It's like 7:15 in the morning. And I worked a graveyard last night, and I'm drinking coffee and I'm jazzed up. So anyways, this is my Knives Seer. This is awesome. This was really one of the better actions that I have, and the materials are there, and just the fit and finish is there. I really like it. It's cool. Moving along is my other WE knife, which I just did. I believe it should be the previous video on the channel. This is the Knives Eterna, and this is an Elijah Isham design. So you got the super funky handle that cuts way up, the humpback, the sway back, the weird blade. There's holes in everything. Super funky, and that's basically why I purchased it. It's weird. This is the weirdest knife that I own. It's a little bit smaller. It's smaller than some of these other ones here so far. At least it feels that way in the handle. But very nicely built, very great materials. Interesting flipper. So the flipper is like up off the front, and it kind of took me a little bit to get used to exactly how to deploy the blade. But once you get it, and it's awesome. So this one already is a video out there of it. So I guess that's, you know, I don't know if you, I think I would talk about anything that you would want to see in that. So we'll just move on. So this is the Giant Mouse Clyde. This dude came out a couple years ago, I think by now. And this was one of the original versions that came out, or the original colorway, the orange and the kind of greenish micarta. Since then, they've come out with some other ones. I know there's like a brass handled one with some black hardware and thumb stud, which looks sweet. There's a red accented one, but they look really cool. This is my one and only Giant Mouse knife that I have, and I think it's pretty cool. It's small. It's LMAX steel. This is about, I don't know, I'm not super nerdy about like overall dimensions and all that kind of stuff because I don't really care that much, but this is a little bit on the small side for me. And but I think it's roughly about 3 inches in blade length, maybe a touch longer. Nice crown spine. Cool knife. I really do like it. There is one gripe that I have, and it is I do like the Persian-y blade, except when you close it and you get your finger fat down in here, and you can, oh, I almost got it, but you can catch your finger on there. So that's fun. Moving on. This is my one and only Benchmade. This is a pretty new addition for me too. This is, oh crap, I can't remember what the model number is, but this is just a Benchmade Bugout. And this is the aluminum scales. These are aluminum. At first I thought it was titanium at first glance, but it's aluminum. But look at that. I really like that a lot. Like these scales are why I bought this knife. Super cool. I like the red. I like the red. I like the red. Deep carry pocket clip. Super awesome. Thin, slicey. Everything that's awesome about a Bugout, it's awesome here. M390 blade steel. Whoa. Incredible action. Fidgety as I screw it up. There we go. Again, there's no room in here. I'm just beating the hell out of my case today. But, Yeah, that's that. So that's my one and only bug out. I've handled and sharpened and blah, blah, blah. I've been around the block with some Benchmades, but this is the only one I own. But it's super awesome. I like it quite a bit. Now, moving on into the zero tolerance realm here. And this was the first big stabby knife that I ever bought. And this is the 0452 WBW. So this is white carbon fiber. So you can, I think it's just the standard like black on gray kind of normal carbon fiber weave. But the contrast weave here is white. And look at that, black wash blade. Very cool. This knife I've had for quite a while, and I've carried it quite a bit. You can see the wear and tear on the pocket clip. This dude's really, the action's great. The blade is awesome. Just the size of it's really cool. This is a little bit on the big side for me. But this knife, I kind of feel a little bit bad about. So you can see on my sharpening job there, how large that bevel is. This knife, unfortunately, was in the mix of when I first got my sharpener, and I was trying to figure out what the hell I was doing. And so this was kind of a scapegoat, and I sharpened it, and I kind of ended up opening up the bevel a little bit on it, a little bit more than what I like to do now. So, but that's that. But nonetheless, still excellent knife. Very easy to carry for his, like, this is like 4 inches of blade, but it's super thin. It's just a long, slim, cool knife. I really like it. Now my other ZT, which I don't believe that this one is even on sale anymore, so I don't know if you'd want to see it or not, but this is the 0808. And this particular 0808 has a story. And it's that I've lost this knife twice, and it took me a metal detector to find it once, and the second time it took me about 3.5 months of patience for snow to melt. So, but this is it. Super kind of weird, little bit on the Warncliffe side, sheep's foot, not quite, I don't know what the hell you'd call that, but as I mentioned that the winter had to happen, you can see the pitting that's right there on the blade. That is from road salt. So yeah, this whole knife, when I have pictures of it still, but this knife fell out of my pocket next to a busy road about in that orientation, with this side up and this side was down, and it sat, like on the side of a busy, if you live in the Midwest or anywhere that gets snow, like the busy roads that get all that salt, and then like you see like the nasty, like black, gross, like death snow and salt. This knife lived in that for like 3.5 months. And I went back in the spring once the snow really finally started to melt, and I thought that that's where it was that I lost it, and sure enough, it was sitting right there. And but the entire side of the blade, this was disgusting how rusted it was. The bearings on the inside were super rusty and nasty. The lock bar was gross. The titanium scales didn't have any issues with them. They were just kind of had like stains from the blade on them. But I managed to clean it up, and it works just fine. I did get rid of the pocket clip because I blame the pocket clip because it was very shallow carry. It was like this much knife hanging out, and this is all just very smooth. So this knife was very easy to have fall out of your pocket. So super cool knife though. I really do like it. And now I just kind of treat it like a slip joint or something like that, and just boop, drop it right in the bottom of my pocket when I'm in the mood to carry it. So that's that. Now we're going to move on to the Spyderco row. Let me take a slurp of coffee here before I go too far. So a couple of them you've already seen. We'll just start on this end. So this is part of the new knife day video that I did. This is my Crewwear PM2. And as you can see, we had a family Christmas at my wife's house in Ohio a week and a half ago. and it was used to open several packages. So it's got goo or tape goo all over it. So that's everybody's favorite thing to have on their knives. But super awesome. Just, you know, I mean, it's a PM2, but I wanted it because it's crew wear. I wanted some crew wear. It's hard to find, man. These, I think that I saw actually some dude commented, a couple of dudes have commented on that video right before I started recording today, that said that this is a regular production model. And I think you're probably right. I mean, I don't know. I don't really look into it all that deeply, but I just view it as what's available and what's not available. And it's very difficult to find this, regardless of whether it's a production knife or not. But it took me a while. I found it, I bought it, and I really like it. I think I might do some different scales on here. Maybe. I'm not sure, but we'll see. So anyways, that's a PM2. And the other part of that new knife day was my YoJumbo. This thing is sweet. I freaking love this. This thing has been finding more pocket time than what I anticipated it would. I kind of bought it as a novelty knife just because it's very Mall Ninja-esque. You know, it's all black everything, and it's got the goofy blade steel, and you can come in here like this and fight off your foes and, you know, whatever. I'm not a knife fighter, but this is a funky, cool blade, and I really like it. It's super ergonomic. It carries very well, despite being huge in, like, this dimension. It's very nice. So, comparison, you know, I mean, that Wharncliffe blade just gets out there, man. It really does. So it's just as much, if not, I think the ZT's got it beat just by a little bit, but still, huge knife, awesome knife. I freaking love it. Very fidgety, drop shutty, all the things. So very cool. Now, this is the largest blade that I have, and this is the Spyderco Police 4, and this is the K390 version. So this was one of the knives that I bought. I guess it's kind of weird just because it is so huge, but I mainly bought it for the blade steel just to see what I thought of it. And this thing is awesome, man. So this is the only Seki City Spyderco that I have. And I've handled Delicas, I've sharpened Delicas, and I believe I sharpened an Endura too. But you know, they're all right. Like this handle material, the FRN, it's okay. The lockback is okay. You know, I don't need all my knives to be compression locks or button locks or whatever, you know, it's fine. But the blade, look at that thing. I mean, holy crap, that's a freaking blade. Let's check it out here. So, you know, I mean, it's walking all over the YoJumbo. So, you know, definitely beating out the ZT as well. So that's why I bought it. It's huge. It's a pocket sword, and it's in a blade steel that I didn't have before. And honestly, I like the color of the handles too. I mean, they're super functional. This isn't what I would necessarily call like a nice knife, but it is a very well executed. It's a workhorse. I don't know if I'll ever use it as a workhorse. you know, pretty much just open Amazon packages with a 4+ inch bladed knife, but it's fine. So I don't know. I do like it. It doesn't get a ton of pocket time, but nonetheless, it's a cool knife, and I'm glad that I've got it. So this one does get a good amount of pocket time. This is my Manix 2, and this is the S110V in blurple version. So you can see right there. And I think my favorite place is the favorite factory is right here in Golden, Colorado, Made on Earth. These are my favorite, I think, knives is the Golden knives. So I did do a couple things to this knife. I put a Flytanium bearing cage, this little dauber right here, which is very nice. It's actually, I don't know if you can see, it's actually like tapers out towards the back, so you can get a really good purchase on it. I felt like the plastic one that comes with it was, I don't know, it was a little too slick, and it kind of didn't, I don't know, just kind of felt a little bit chintzy, so I kind of wanted to upgrade, and that's aluminum. So super cool. I like how, obviously, you know, very similar in practice. compared to the Benchmade and how the lock works, but it's totally different on the inside. So the Benchmade has Omega springs, you know, like the horseshoe-shaped springs that squeeze together and then squeeze back out to push the lock bar. This one is actually a coil spring over a rod and with a ball bearing that goes into, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's kind of hard. It kind of sits back there a little bit. But anyways, there's a steel ball bearing right in there that engages with the blade. S110V is freaking sweet. I've been super impressed with this steel. Like, it just, I don't know. I have a Maximate PM2 right here that I'll show you in just a second. And that steel is pretty sweet too. But I've been just incredibly impressed with S110V. I did end up sharpening this knife, but it didn't even need it. I just sharpened it just because I'm a knife sharpener and I had a Spyderco that I owned for several months. Whoa. And hadn't sharpened it. But this thing just eats through cardboard. I mean, it did everything, and it came super like laser beam sharp from the factory, and it was almost laser beam sharp by the time I decided to sharpen it. So super impressed. I really like that knife a lot. That knife right there is probably the one that I go to if I know I'm going to be thumping on it. So that's what my Manix is for. Now, I do not thump on this knife so much, and I'm not afraid to, but I don't. This is more man jewelry. This is my Spyderco Kapara. And this knife it surprised me how much I actually like this knife, just how weird the blade shape is. I guess its overall design was, it's by a dude named Alistair Phillips. And he's actually pretty active on social media, but he seems like a cool dude. This is just a representation of his custom knife, but it's very well done. It's a Taichung Spyderco. A little bit odd. There's no jimping whatsoever. Not here, not here, not anywhere, which is fine, honestly. I don't really notice that I miss it a whole lot. I mean, again, I don't really go thumping on this thing, but in practice as an EDC knife, it's freaking sweet. Like, it's slim, it's light, it's fast, it's just super cool. I did do a video on this knife. You can go back and check it out. It was one of my very first ones. Like, I sit here and talk like I'm super experienced. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So, but super cool knife, S30V. I don't know. It's just a great overall pocket knife, and it's much more functional and carryable and enjoyable than what I anticipated it to be. I just bought it because I thought it was weird. I didn't expect to like it as much as what I do. So I did put a lynch clip on it. I think it was because, yeah, this came with a wire clip, and my seatbelt buckle eats pocket clips. So there was this one. Let's see, there was another pocket clip that I ruined. Oh, it was on a pair of 3. I used to have a pair of 3 that I gave to my mother-in-law. I ruined that one too, and my Sebenza. I don't know if you can hear that. The Sebenza not too long ago caught my seatbelt buckle. So yeah, I'm terrible at that. Moving on. This is my other Spyderco PM2, and like I mentioned before, this is my Maximate version. And I've kind of gussied this one up just a touch. I purchased black screws, lanyard tube, carbon fiber back spacer, and a lynch clip for it. I just kind of went, with the hardware on here, I just went all black everything, and I think it really gives it a good contrast. It really, I think, makes this one look good. This blade steel, kind of very similar to experience for me. I know obviously there's differences, but for me as an end user, it is very similar to the S110V. It's like it just barely dulls. It really just barely ever dulls at all. It's incredible. So I do like it does get a little bit of a patina. It's got a little, different, well, I don't know. Well, let's compare it to the S110V. Oh, I think I just popped my foam out right there. Crap. Oh, well. But you can tell there's just the finish on it. There's it's more of a matte sheen than the S110V. I guess the S110V isn't exactly on the polished edge of things. I don't know. Compared to this, for sure, it's more matte. You can tell right there. But it does kind of get a little bit of patina. I tried to keep it clean. I try to keep a very thin coat of oil on it, just because I don't like to force patinas. It's like people that force patinas on knives, I feel like are the same people that buy brand new pairs of jeans with holes in them. So, you know, if I'm going to get patina on my blade, I'm going to earn it. So, I don't know. I just, that's how I feel about it. But yeah, it's a PM2. I love the Maximate. I love the look. I love the gray. I love the black. This is probably my most carried pocket knife. It's up there. I don't know. The Atom and this knife are my most carried pocket knives. Love it. So my last Spyderco, last but not least, is the Spyderco Drunken. And this thing is freaking sweet. This is one of my feeling fancy knives. So like I wear this knife to weddings or very nice dinner. Like basically when I get dressed up, or if I just really want to feel like a fancy douchebag, I guess, when I go out and about. But this knife, I freaking love it. I don't think it really comes across that well, but it does a little bit. The milling on here is just absolutely incredible. And it kind of gives you that weird effect. Like if you look at it, it's like kind of plays tricks on your eyes, and that's why he calls it the Drunken. And it's on the back here too. It's not quite as effective as the carbon fiber side, but you can still get the gist of it. Very cool. The blade, it's all about the blade. I don't know. It's about the blade and the handles. This knife just kind of really is sweet. So S90V. And so Spyderco, from my understanding, they kind of do their limited runs, kind of more fancier knives. Or yeah, I guess it is kind of just limited runs, or more like if they do a sprint in one of their, more production knives that they want for a fancy version, they'll do like carbon fiber and S90V. And so S90, it's a very premium steel. I did have to go back and I sharpened it, and I had to go back and resharpen it because there was actually a couple tiny little chips. So it is a little bit fragile. So I had to go back and be a little bit more careful. But it was very, very minor. I didn't even notice it for about a few hours afterwards, but that I sharpened it, that it had, the tiniest of little chips in the edge. But overall, this knife is awesome. It's a Dmitry Sinkovich design. And this is, I don't know, it's like up there, I guess, as far as price was. This is a very expensive pocket knife. It was basically as much as a Sebenza. But this one is still available. It's kind of not quite to the version of like the Python and the Nirvana. It like didn't get the holy shit, buy it out, kind of response that some Spyderco owners give for certain knives. So it's still available out there, but it's just a very unique knife, and it's the milling, it's the blade. And from what I understand too, I don't know if this is true or not because I don't know shit about it myself personally, but I can't remember if it was a Nick Shabazz video or some video about it, that S90V for some reason is very difficult to get that shine on. So it takes an incredible amount of tumbling to get it to that point. And so one thing that is nice is that, it's got very, very rounded holes because of the tumbling. The edges are all it's just a super smooth blade, and that reflectivity off of there is just awesome. I freaking love this knife. I really, really do. Pocket clip, a lot of people bitch about it because there's not a whole lot of room in there. It takes like a half a second extra to get into your pocket, so it's not a big deal. Love it. Moving on, I've got 3 Microtechs. This one, yeah. This is the best thwacking knife that I own, man. Like, here, let's listen to that again and watch this. Nice drop shutty action. Listen. Like, that's, that just takes control. People notice it when you thwack this dude open. So, this is the Socom Elite, and it is the Signature Series. So, there was 2 different versions of the Signature Series, and this is a numbered one. It's 387, and it was born on 06 of 2018. So anyways, I think there was a black DLC coated blade, and I can't remember if that one had the bronze hardware. I think it did. I can't remember for sure, but I really wanted the one with the bronze blade. It just talked to me. I love bronze on black. I think it's a great look. That logo is freaking sweet. I mean, this was actually my first, what I considered to be very expensive pocket knife. And it was nearly $400 for this dude. And it kind of had me in sticker shock for quite a while. And, you know, I don't know, but I'm not mad about it. I still really like this knife. It's M390. I have sharpened it up a little bit, stropped it up a little bit. Downside is that it's tip down carry only, and it's super wide up here at the top. So it makes it a little difficult to get in and out of your hand around it in the pocket. But do I care? No. This thing's awesome. So this knife is just a badass. It really is. I love it. So moving on, my super tactical purple out the front switchblade auto knife. This knife right here, this is the Ultratech, full-size Ultratech, and it's got the bayonet style blade on it. And as you can see from the wear all around here, I have carried the living crap out of this knife. And it's still holding up. I need to oil it because it's got a stiff, oh man, it's really getting stiff. So I need to blow it out and put some Rem oil down in there. But this knife, let's take a look at the blade. So as you can see, I have very large and very awkward bevels, polished bevels on there. And there's all kinds of terrible looking markings on the blade, right? So I took this knife because, like I said, I was carrying the crap out of it. And this is sharpened up here on the top too. So it's got this flat right here, but this is most definitely a sharpened edge right there. But I was using the crap out of this knife. It was my EDC knife. I carried it every single day for a good amount of time. And it got a little bit dulled up. It's M390, but I was thumping on it, man. And I took it somewhere. This was prior to me getting my sharpener, and knife is the reason why I got my sharpener. And it was because I took it to some jackass that said that he sharpened knives, and I'll give him credit. He's probably never seen a switchblade, bayonet, whatever, double-edged knife. But that dude completely butchered my knife, man. So those marks right there are from him. And it was way worse, and that's why I had to take the bevel so far just to get rid of as much of it as possible. You can see it there too. And it was completely asymmetrical from top to bottom, left to right on every single corner. The tip was just absolutely ruined. So I did the best that I could to get the tip back and get it as symmetrical as I possibly could. But basically this knife is jacked. And so it sucks because, one, it's expensive. Two, I really like it. And three, it breaks my heart to see a really nice blade look like that. But it doesn't stop me from carrying it on occasion. But what does stop me from carrying it more often than not is this ultra tactical pink out the front switchblade auto. So this is the UTX 85. And they call it the 85 because it's 85% the overall size of this knife. But for whatever reason, I don't know what they do different internally here. I'm not brave enough to take these apart, and I don't have the proprietary screws to take it apart. But I do carry this one quite a bit. But the big difference is the effort that it takes to deploy and retract the blade. So this one, I went a little bit more conventional, just went with the standard issue, just drop point blade, went black coated. But yeah, you can see it's the UTX 85. And this one is LMAX steel as well. I believe, yeah, this one's M390. This one's LMAX. But see, I can't do that fast with the other knife. Nowhere near. I mean, granted, that's as fast as I can go. So the 85, I think it's a little bit more, I don't know, like I said, usually I like bigger knives, but for some reason this one just jives with me a little bit better. I don't know if it's just like the jimping here hits my hands just a little bit nicer, or if it's just the effort that kind of brainwashes me, because it's significantly easier. And I've got big, strong hands. I did, manual labor for a very long portion of my life, and so my hands are not wimpy, but that knife is difficult to deploy. So again, it needs clean, but this one is significantly easier. So, and it's pink. It's like, that's why I got the purple and the pink, was kind of like, these tactical dudes out there, that you see on the internet are like, all black everything, like that kind of guy. It's kind of just raising a flag against that. It's like, I've got an out the front auto knife that's pink. So it's fun. I enjoy these knives quite a bit. Now, another auto knife that I have, this one is actually a gift from my wife. This was a birthday gift for me a couple months ago. And this is what is this thing? This is the Boker Strike Desert Warrior. And so it's out the side auto. So there is a lock right here. And it's just a push button out the side. Look at that. OD green and tan. Now, I don't know. See that little mark up here? I'm not sure. I was thumping on this thing for a bit. This is D2 steel, as you can see right there. But I was thumping on this thing, cutting some boxes with it. I haven't sharpened it, but I have been thumping on it. It came super sharp, actually. But I don't know if I need to take a alcohol swab to that and try to clean that up. But I don't know how durable that finish is. I hope that that's not permanent, because I was beaten out and I went through like a ton of boxes with this knife and it just ate it right up. Like, it feels very solid, great action. Like, watch how, like, I'm just gonna like pinch this thing. Watch how hard this thing fires. Like, you see, this thing goes, man. So super awesome. But I really like the aesthetic of it. I do like the sides. It's on the small side for me, but it's okay. It works for me. I like the ramp right here, and it seems decent. So I really do like it. I like the shape of the blade too, just the swedge and the flat and the bevel there. Very cool. I like it quite a bit. So this one does get actually a fair amount of pocket time from me, so it's pretty nice. Now, I had the other one sitting here next to me. This is one of two Ontario Rat number 2s, the R2D2. I do have another one that I actually purchased, and my wife claims that is her knife now. So when she goes out and walks the dog or has packages for herself to open, that's what she uses, and that's the D2 version. This one was a gift to me from a fellow knife nerd that I work with, Taylor. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate it. And I was this close to buying the white-handled one for myself, and so I was super happy when he just showed up to work one day and was like, "Here, dude, I got you this." And I'm like, "That's awesome." So Rat 2, and Rat 1, what can you say? Like, get one. They're awesome. Like, they really are awesome. I think they're like between 30 and 40 bucks. It's like, I think like the D2 version is like 40 bucks maybe, and this one's like $5 cheaper. So it's like, why would you not? These knives are awesome. They're tough. They're very, very sharp. They're just like a straight up awesome pocket knife. Like, I've recommended the R2D2 probably more than any other knife that I own. Now, moving on, a knife that I will never recommend to a single person living is this knife right here. And this is the Buck 347. And this knife was part of Buck's Buck of the Month program. I don't know if they still do it or not, and I don't care, because I'll never be buying another Buck knife. This thing was like 125 bucks, or maybe a little bit more than that. S35 blade steel, hollow grind. It looks good, right? It's micarta, whatever. It's, right in my size wheel, super deep carry pocket clip, American name, S35 VN, whatever. It looks cool. This knife fucking sucks. No jimping anywhere. None right here, not on the flipper tab. Why does that suck? Because the action sucks. Like, give me a freaking break. I've had this thing apart. I have it as loose as I possibly can without having too much blade play. This is with blade play. If I have to, throw it to get it to pop. So, you know, compared to the action of this, like effortless. You know, I understand that this isn't a flipper. Does it really matter? This knife is like 4 times as expensive as that knife, and it can't even freaking deploy. The micarta, it feels like it's a paper thin sheet of micarta that does not feel good at all. This black is just like the cheapest, crappiest plastic you could imagine. And the clip, it's okay. It does, but it's very wide in this dimension. But come on, man. Like, if a knife doesn't have even, I don't know, man. It's like I gotta like freaking throw the freaking thing to get the blade to open. I hate it. So if you want to buy a buck 347, let me know. So moving on to a knife that doesn't completely suck. Whoa, I can't fire it though, it's too small. So this was my keychain knife for a long time. I can't remember the exact model name, and it's filthy. It's like got tape goo and everything on there. But this is a little Kershaw, it says 1025 Hinderer. So this is actually a Rick Hinderer design. And it's a super awesome little pocket knife. So a keychain knife, really. But look, you can just drop your thumb right here. It's got a nice sharpening choil. It's got about, what, maybe an inch of cutting edge right there. But it's like when you're on your go and you, for whatever reason, you know, say if you accidentally did leave your pocket knife at home or whatever, it's really hard to flip. You can't actually flick this thing when you have keys attached to it. But it's like if you don't have enough to hold on to down here, you're not going to, I don't have enough for it. But if you have keys attached to it, then you can flick it. Yeah, this is just a great, like, super backup knife, you know, or if you're somewhere that you don't want to freak people out, you know, like, who the heck's going to be freaked out about this, dude? Like, come on, my thumbnail's as big as the blade, basically. So, and bonus points, bottle opener, you know, so that's cool. So moving on, this is I don't know if the number or model name of this one, I don't know how, I'm not super hip on case knives. This is lockback, but this is just a very traditional case clip point knife. Let's see here. It does say, what do you say? 61749L stainless steel. So yeah, apparently that's the model number. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. This knife is super beat up. It's got a lot of miles on it, and I love it for that. So this is actually, if we were going to be technical, this is actually my son's knife. It was given to him by my uncle who lives down in Tennessee. They were up here to visit, and my uncle asked me to sharpen the knife because it, you know, just has a lot of miles on it and needed some TLC. You can see some of the scratches on there. This thing's really been, you know, used quite a bit, which is awesome. But he had me sharpen it, and then when I gave it back to him, my son was standing there and he said, "Here you go, bud. Looks like you need a new pocket knife." And so he's got a new pocket knife, but I don't quite trust my son with a screaming sharp, like, lightsaber edge on a knife just yet. So it's in safekeeping right here in the case. This is the perfect knife, like, if I'm feeling like really low key and don't feel like carrying a freaking YoJumbo or a Sebenza or a PM2 or whatever, you know what I mean? This knife is a perfect, just boop, drop it in the pocket. It's just a great knife, you know, for all the reasons that, you know, case, slip joints, and lockbacks are great for. So super awesome. I'm glad to have it there, and I'm glad that it showed up in my world with a lot of wear and tear on it. So it really makes it kind of special for me because it came from my uncle. So now another one that has a lot of wear and tear on it that is extremely sentimental to me is this one right here. This is, I don't know, I'm terrible about Victorinox. I'm not a big Victorinox guy. This is my grandpa's Swiss Army knife, and he passed away. Oh, let's see, man, it's getting up there. It's been a number of years now, but this was his pocket knife that he carried every single day. And so I will not be sharpening this knife. I will not be oiling this knife. I will not be doing anything with this knife other than bringing it out on occasion and, you know, kind of playing with it and just checking it out. But, you know, it's got all kinds of tape goo on here, and he's got the blades are all scratched up and everything's all worn out on here. And it's perfect because of that, you know, like every single scratch that's on this knife, my grandpa put on that. So, you know, this one means a lot to me. I don't know the model number on it. Honestly, I don't really care because it doesn't matter. So, yeah, this was my grandpa's pocket knife. And so it, you know, I mean, like, look how nasty that is down in there. You know, I'm not cleaning that. So what that is, he used to make guitars, like handmade. I'm talking from like beginning to end, make guitars in his shop. And that's guitar dust. Wood dust from when he was sanding on guitars. So, you know, definitely never even going to clean this thing. So, super awesome. And there is another one in here that was his also, and it was his keychain knife. And I have no idea what maker's mark that is. You know, here's the key loop. I don't know anything about this thing. There's no markings on it as far as I can remember. Oh no, what is that right there? Imperial Stainless is what it says. USA, so it's American made. I had never even noticed that before. But yeah, this one doesn't have quite the wear and tear as well. This larger blade does, but you know, this was just his keychain knife. So this is what he used whenever he, you know, forgot his other pocket knife at home or whatever. So this one again, this is like the spot where I keep my grandpa's knives over here, and those will never be cleaned, never be carried, and never be sharpened or anything like that. So now, moving on, that is the extent of my folder collection. So real quick, I'm going to show you my fixed blade knife collection, and I am going to start with my last Spyderco for the day. So this is the Spyderco Bow River. I put this on here, and this is like the only, well, that's the only lanyard I've ever put on a knife. I'm not a lanyard guy, but check this out. Phil Wilson did a very good job. This is a 8CR13 MOV blade steel. I think it's roughly in the 4-inch range of blade. Very smooth, very cool looking G10. Like this, there's no texture to this at all. I use this as, like when we've gone camping, I use this kind of as my do-it-all kind of kitchen knife. So it's like kind of food prep is what I use it for when we're away from home. Sometimes I've even used it in our kitchen, you know, if I've got a lot of cooking or, you know, cutting a lot of just veggies and things like that, and I just feel like using one of my own knives instead of, you know, I mean, I guess the kitchen knives are my knives, but nonetheless, that's what this one's for. So this is an all-around knife. I do not really... I have not carried it on in the sheath on my belt, nor do I have any plans to do so. Like I said, it's just kind of, this thing was super cheap, so it's a little bit more expensive now. I think I saw it the other like week or two ago. Blade HQ sells it for about $44 right now, I think. I bought it when it was like $32 or $36 or something like that. So I was like, $36 for a 4-inch Spyderco with sweet G10? Like, yeah, give me it. So that was kind of like a why not, right? So now this is my thumper. So this is my heavy duty camping knife, and this is an ESEE 5. And this thing is a pig. This thing weighs a pound. 1/4-inch blade stock. Look at that. Super awesome. Roughly 5-inch blade. I can't remember if, I think there's, I mean, obviously, like the ESEE 3, 4, 5, 6, they're roughly 3, 4, 5, or 6 inches, but I can't remember if it's just above or just below. I don't have a ton of miles on this, but you can kind of see the finish starting to get worn out right there. You know, I'll be the first to admit that I don't really, you know, use it all too terribly often, but when we do go camping, I do love to take it out and just, this thing will split some freaking wood, like big time, man, and it just... no matter what you do with it, it just eats it up and asks for some more. So this knife is freaking sweet. I like it quite a bit, but it's, you know, I don't carry it really. I just kind of keep it around the campsite. But this thing's just a bad son of a bitch. So it's just a big old slab of 1095, super awesome. And in my experience, I've purchased this and I bought an ESEE 4 as a gift. ESEE knives are amongst the sharpest factory knives that I've ever seen. They're incredible. So this is the Kydex sheath too. So unlock, lock, keeps it nice. Oh, maybe not that tight, but you know, that's how you keep it in there. And belt loop, blah, 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 all that stuff. So super awesome knife. I really like it. Now this one is, I guess you could say this is my only custom knife. And this was made by my friend Chris from work. He actually has a small forge in his garage, and he let me design this knife. So I told him that I wanted a small pocketable fixed blade, and that's what he made me. So this just, I mean, look at this thumb ramp right here. Nice, you know, you really choke up on this little dude, little kind of 3-finger guy. He went online and I picked this out right here. Just, I like purple. So I got to pick out the materials. He makes it out of 1095. There's his maker's mark right there. Very cool, very high polished, 1095. And it's a great little knife. I will admit, I don't like pocket fixed blades quite as much as I was hoping, but nonetheless, I still really enjoy having this knife. I do carry it on a rare occasion. Like I said, I thought I would like it more as just like an EDC knife, but right now I don't really carry it a whole lot, but I do really admire it, and I'm very happy that it's part of my collection. So Chris, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're awesome. Oh, and he actually handmade the sheath too, and he put puppy paw prints in there. Like how soon? Or maybe those are wolf or bear, I don't know. I thought they were dog feet, but whatever. Very cool. He made that all by himself. So now, this is my last knife, and this is my favorite knife. This is a Chris Reeve Nyala, and it's a lot of people say it's a Nyala, but I call it, the way I read it on the website, it's Nyala. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's some South African thing like all of Chris's knives are, but very nice sheath. This is handmade by the Gefeller Case Makers in Meridian, Idaho. So I think from what I gather, this was right down the road from Chris Reeve Knives. But look at this. How freaking sexy is that? So this is another gift knife from my wonderful, beautiful, caring, amazing wife. This was another birthday gift probably 3 or 4 years ago. And this knife is most definitely, for me, a safe queen. I just think it's, just visually, for me, this is one of the most aesthetically pleasing knives that I've ever seen. I freaking love just the look of this. And it's your typical S35. It's full slab, full tang of S35 VN, but this is basically a large Sebenza. So let me show you here. So there we go. So you can see it's just a little bit longer overall, or maybe not even overall. I don't know. It's roughly the same size of a Sebenza. Obviously, it's a little taller, and it's definitely thicker in stock. So for me, I have carried it, but it's a little bit. I'm not a big fixed blade carrier for as far as like EDC. One, because I concealed carry and I carry this sheath in the same place as my holster, so it's kind of a little bit too much going on in one spot. And also, even if I like tried to cross draw it or something like that, I'd be afraid I'd slice my muffin top because I've got a dad bod and I put a polished edge on this thing, and this thing is not playing, man. So, but this has all the attention to detail that every single Chris Reeve knife gets. Hollow ground, crown spine. It even crowned all the way back here. Nice swedge cut in up here. And look at this micarta. Look at that. So this is my favorite part. So like as you're getting a hold of the micarta, your fingers kind of come right back on to these lines right here, and it kind of bites it, and so it stops you from going forward and back. But look at this. Look at how they milled the micarta directly in line with the jimping right here. Like, look at that. That's attention to detail, and that's solid execution. I freaking love that aspect of this knife. Like, how cool is that? There you go, Idaho made. It's just, I don't know. This knife, I saw it and I'm like, you know, I was kind of like Wayne's World when he sees the white fender, you know, he's like, it will be mine. Oh, yes. And I think she saw me looking at it on my phone, and I told her about it. And she was super awesome and went and bought it for me. There's his Chris Reeve Maker's Mark right there. And I'm super happy about it. But basically, this knife, I most of the time what I use it for is when I'm making whiskey old fashions and I've got fruits to cut up for my cocktails. Yeah, I will use it in the kitchen a little bit, and I will carry it on a very rare occasion. But like I said, mostly this thing is a safe queen, and it's just very special to me. It's the first knife that my wife ever purchased for me, and I think it's just one of the most, from my eyes, one of the most beautiful knives out there. And that's about it. So that's my Chris Reeve Nyala, and very nice sheath, though. This is very well done. So anyways, that's my knife collection. Like I said at the beginning, if you see anything there that you would like to hear me talk about any more than what I discussed here today, just let me know in the comments, and I'll do what I can to show you what you want to see. Have a good day.